Okay, all right, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in dressing room. Okay, right here is okay. Anything below that's low. Right here is okay. Anything below that's low. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
This should be high-speed chess tonight. We'll see if we also get fireworks or something else. But if you're watching this right now, you're not only a boxing junkie, but you are a real boxing fan with discriminating taste. The number 1, 2, and number 2 fighters in the division are squaring off for supremacy. A real boxing fan can't miss this.
Schablon begins. Crawford wearing magnificent-looking gold gloves. Let's see if his performance can be as golden as the gloves.
And for the first time in a fight, Jim, for a long time, the referee didn't even say touch gloves. He wanted them to come out fighting, forget the glove touching.
Will Terence Crawford try to find out in round 1 exactly how willing Postol is to fight with him?
Yes, he will. He won't try to do that, Jim. He'll try to find out, can Postol take his shocking punch that hurt him when he fought Matisse, hurt him when he fought the other guy,
El Selçuk Aydin.
Aydin, yes.
Yes, he was rocked by left hands in the first round of both those fights.
And we see that Eastern European, especially Russian and Ukrainian style, where the long fighter, the long reach and the height, keeps that jab out in front, which acts as a kind of deflection for his opponent's punches, but also brings that jabbing hand closer to his opponent's head, and that has bothered the American style in the past.
And Crawford waited about 20 seconds to switch from conventional to the southpaw stance.
Yeah, I don't like him in the southpaw stance so much. I like him as a right-hander better until he finds out what kind of a straight right hand Postol has.
But is he switching to the southpaw stance immediately to try to take away Postol's jab?
I don't think so, Jim. I think he's doing it just to show Postol that you're no different than anybody else. I'll switch southpaw on you whenever I feel like it.
Postol, meantime, is applying pressure right from the opening bell and feinting, watching for Crawford's reactions to those feints. Crawford having a hard time finding the distance against this long, lean, and technically sound opponent.
With regard to the switching southpaw, Freddie Roach perhaps engaging in psychological gamesmanship, as is so often the case, said earlier this week, yeah, we hope he switches southpaw. We want him to switch southpaw, because that will set up Victor's straight right hand.
And that's what I'm thinking, Jim, so we'll see what happens. The other thing we must say, though, is we've never seen a taller fighter chase Terence Crawford around for the first part of the fight, so this is different for Terence.
And I'm not sure I've ever seen Terence as reluctant to throw punches as has been the case for the first 2 minutes of this fight.
Not to get carried away, but early in Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearn's first fight, Tommy Hearn's the long, lean fighter with the big right hand and the good jab was the aggressor, and Ray had to hurt him to the body to get him to stop being the aggressor.
Postol decided to step in and be the aggressor here moments ago. Stop. Quick little right hand inside landed for Crawford. Tony Weeks is the referee.
Bad shot by Postol. That's the shot I don't want him to land on Crawford, because turning southpaw, Crawford gives that shot up not knowing it.
It's a good round for Postol, I thought.
They landed the same number of punches, 6, but Postol looked comfortable with what was going on in there.
Marquez. You're doing good. Just when you counter, you come with 2 or 3 punches. You see how that works? All right, I want you to do that. Box a little bit. Just counter with 2 or 3 punches. Huh? Right? When you counter, 2 or 3 punches, because he's not countering back. Okay. Just keep it in.
Keep that foot on the outside, all right? Yeah. Don't slip when you talk about. Don't slip to your right. Okay. Right.
Good.
Throw that left hand down to the gut. All right. Throw it up. Throw it. It's there. Okay. It's got to be like a boom boom. Okay. Make sure you bring that jab back home. Let's go, baby.
Comments in the corner from both of Crawford's trainers, Issa Villegas and Brian McIntyre. Round 2 begins. Jabbing to the body is Postol. Crawford fires back a jab to the body himself.
Postol just looks so much bigger in there.
And Terence is actually 5 pounds heavier.
Yep.
But Jim, to what you said earlier, you asked did Crawford turn southpaw to take Postol's jab away. Why would you turn to take the jab away when the right hand is the best weapon? That's the shot you should really take away. You feel me?
I understand that, but he may be of the thought process that Postol needs the jab to set up the right hand. That it's really the rhythm on the jab that gets him going in position to throw the right.
And he could be, but as a southpaw, it's much easier, like Postol landed that right hook at the end of the round, for Postol to land the right hand. And that, I think, is Postol's best punch.
Not a lot of action so far, but a lot of tension.
Body shot for Postol with the right hand. Crawford again in the southpaw stance and has been in the southpaw stance all of this round. We may not see him turn back conventional at any time in the fight.
And usually when he does that, he sees something that we don't really see, but he stays there because he's comfortable, and that's what he likes. A good body shot.
Stop.
And see Postol being a highly decorated amateur fighter knows the correct punches to throw at a southpaw from the orthodox position.
So far, Postol has been first. Not a lot has happened, but he's been first, and he's been the guy dictating things. That's not uncommon in a Crawford fight in the early rounds.
Yeah, but like the kid Lundy said, it's not good for Crawford in a fight with Postol because Postol is longer. He's the inexperienced pro guy. Well, no, he has experience, but not quite the experience that Crawford has. He hasn't seen the opposition that Crawford has seen. So he's the inexperienced pro fighter, but you don't want to give him confidence in a fight like this.
Crawford sneaking at a body shot with the left hand. Postol stalking and looking upstairs. Crawford trying to counter Postol's jab. Postol reluctant to throw it right now.
Another good body shot by Crawford.
Yeah.
With the left hand, and those have been his best punches in the fight. The body shots that he's landed with the left.
One of the ways Crawford several times has turned fights around after a slow start is by waiting for the right counter and hurting his opponent with it. And we've seen Postol countered early in fights with big shots that have hurt him.
There's the left hand. That lands for Crawford. Stepping forward and getting a little bit more aggressive as the crowd warms up.
And this is what Crawford needs. He needs a fight to break out.
Tim Bradley, huge friends with Terence Crawford, cheering his buddy on. It was Bradley who talked the promoter Top Rank into making Crawford available to fight Greatest Prescott on the undercard of a pay-per-view year here in Vegas a few years ago, and that was the fight that really launched Crawford as an A fighter.
Be faster off when y'all tie up. Be faster with the combinations. Try to come out. Be much aware. Okay? How you feel? Good. Deep breath. Deep breath.
Here you see Postol coming in with the jab. He's first, like Max said, where he countered Terence's jab with a right uppercut, followed by a left hook, but then Crawford hit him with an overhand left that knocked him off balance. Good exchange by both fighters.
Combi box numbers so far in the fight. Crawford is 14 of 60. Postol 12 of 38. So Postol not as active as Crawford, but more accurate so far.
We saw the glimpse at the end of that round of Crawford's countering ability.
We've seen Postol hit Crawford pretty good. We haven't seen Crawford put a really good shot on Postol's chin yet.
Crawford is out of the southpaw stance, but he's moving in the direction that an orthodox fighter would move, clockwise, oftentimes.
Crawford seems to want to draw Postol to him and counter when Postol throws. Postol isn't taking the bait. He's staying back and not throwing. Well, of all the scenarios that were discussed as to what could happen in the fight, the one scenario I didn't see was war of nerves, and that's what it's been so far.
Good right hand on the inside by Postol moments ago.
He's getting confident, but he better not get too confident. Good hook by Crawford.
One punch at a time. So far for both fighters, neither guy has landed a competent combination, and we're almost 3 rounds in.
And that's how a good fight between two classical boxers, or two classic boxers, usually unveils.
Right hand to the body by Postol. Crawford a little short with the jab. Now Postol tries the jab. Gets it there, but not much impact. Right hand by Postol.
Crawford going in for a body shot and got caught upstairs.
Good left
hand by Crawford. It's counterpunch night. Both guys most effective when they can land a counter shot.
Well, this is the high-speed chess I was referring to. Guys feinting. Both fighters looking for openings off the feints.
Rabbit punch by Crawford. You can see the graphic that shows you both fighters have landed 6 punches in the round. That's a low-activity round.
Because like Max said, it's a real chess match right now.
That's the closest thing to a trade we've had. And Postol gets the better of it both times. Lands a couple of right hands and lands a jab. And another right hand to the chest. So Postol is now making his length a factor in the fight.
Yes, he is.
Good job, Postol. Very good.
Очень хорошо.
Victor, if you throw a lazy jab out there, he's gonna counter it.
Если будешь ленивый джеб кидать, он в ответ будет попадать.
All our jabs have to be fast and sharp.
Все джебы быстрые и четкие.
Okay?
Хорошо?
Don't be lazy with that jab.
Ленивый не кидай джеб.
All right? Don't lay it out there because he'll counter with the hook over the top.
Он через руку будет всегда в ответ бить.
Good fast jab, good fight, good right hand behind it, okay?
Быстрый джеб и быстрый правый.
Very nice combination. Very nice.
Отличная комбинация, молодец.
CompuBox numbers in round 3. Crawford was 7 of 31. Postol was 13 of 28, landing almost 50% of his punches in the round as he stayed back, waited to counter, took advantage of his opportunities, and did it well. Howard Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 29-28, 2 rounds to 1. Viktor Postol. Yeah, this is a hard fight, Jim. I swear to God. Postol keeps his arms really far away from his body, bounces up and down a lot. Terence Crawford, all he's doing is circling to the left. I mean, he's been doing this for 3 rounds already. He bounces a lot, circles to the left. Every so often, he sets his feet, lands a good shot. I thought that Postol won rounds 1 and 3. 3 was a little bit more clearer than 1. And I thought Terence Crawford got in enough good shots to win round 2. But it's got to be close so far. 2-1, Viktor Postol.
Heard Freddie in the corner worried about that counter right hook from the southpaw position from Crawford over a lazy jab from Postol. Sometimes with a tall guy with a big jab, if he occasionally gets lazy with it and brings it down low, will get countered over the top that way. And Crawford does have the kind of power that can change the fight around.
Yes, he does. If he lands a clean shot, he can.
Like that. Hard left hand by Crawford. Postol tasted it, wants to answer back immediately. Another left hand shot for Crawford. And another. Momentarily knocked Postol off balance. So a rally by Crawford with the left hand. And now the attention shifts just a little bit. Body shot by Crawford. Getting aggressive again with a combination upstairs. Terence Crawford trying to take over in round number 4.
And that's what he should do. The ref hadn't yet said break, and Postol was trying to tie him up, and Crawford kept those hands moving, and not just pity-pat shots, hard shots.
Suddenly in round 4, Terence Crawford a great deal more active. Postol tries to stop the momentum with a body shot with the right hand.
What do we say? First 3 rounds, Crawford figures you out.
And then he takes off.
Terence Crawford trying to achieve liftoff here in round number 4. After a scratch and sniff first 3 rounds for both fighters, Postol seemed to have a little bit of an advantage.
Professional sports at this level, all professional sports, involves adjustments. Who can make adjustments and then readjust?
Crawford was moving away from Postol's right hand as Postol found him, but was reaching to land the punch.
Crawford's CPU, his boxing CPU, is very powerful, able to analyze and make adjustments. Now can Postol adjust to Crawford's adjustments?
Because of how Postol jumps in, though, both guys have to really be careful of a head, but
quick right hand by Crawford found Postol's chin. Seesaw fight. Postol seeming to win the odd rounds, Crawford seeming to win the even ones.
Good movement, good movement. Good movement, good entertainment. I'll give you that round. But sometimes when you're going to your right, take that step to the left, because he's steadily following you. Take that step to the left and then try to counter, or take it and just see what he's gonna do. And then next time you get around to it, then you'll be able to go. Okay?
All right, but you better be a little bit closer, okay? Work your way in with the jab, okay? Work your way in with the jab. Go that overhand right from me, okay? He's moving that way all the time.
Hands of stone, and there he is, Mr. Manos de Piedra himself. Panama's greatest fighter, Roberto Duran. Beautiful smile from Roberto. Wasn't always that friendly in the ring.
That's a knockdown.
Knocked down. Knocked down by Crawford.
6, 7, 8. Come in. You hit a punch.
First time in his career that Viktor Postol has been knocked out. So 28 fights without a knockdown to this point. Terence Crawford dumps him on the seat of his pants in the opening seconds of round number 5.
Stop.
Explosiveness is a Crawford trademark.
he figures you out, figures out how to get to your chin, then bing, there he goes with you.
Crawford's mentality is to body slam a guy at that moment. I think the high stakes and the fact that he feels this fight is going his way allowed him to kind of calm down and just spin Postol around instead of trying to hurt him there.
A little whirly jig to entertain the crowd. So Postol has now suffered through 2 embarrassments here in round number 5. 1, getting knocked down, 2, getting picked up. Hard left hand by Crawford. Postol's in trouble again. Glove touched the canvas. Knockdown number 2.
That may have helped Postol just then.
Yep, it did, because he would have got knocked out had that not happened.
2 knockdowns in the round for Terence Crawford.
Is it a 3 knockdown rule fight?
No. No 3 knockdown in effect.
Postol, when he recovers from these knockdowns, doesn't appear to be very hurt, but it's Crawford's ability to again land that big punch that has produced them. Not a cumulative effect, the effect of being able to set up huge, clean shots upstairs.
Postol jumps in too close to evade the attack from Crawford, and he can't afford to trade with Crawford because his chin is not as strong as Crawford's chin is.
And his punch is not as strong as Crawford's punch is. But that difference has shown up in bold relief here in round number 5. Terence Crawford has the power, and Viktor Postol doesn't have as good a chin.
Well, Crawford also has an ability to adjust, as I mentioned, that doesn't just have to do with his preparation for a given fight or a given game plan.
Postol did a good job of ducking a left hook that would have knocked him into next week.
It has to do with an exceedingly sharp boxing mind.
Side-to-side movement has helped to set up big shots for Terence Crawford here in round number 5. He's knocked Viktor Postol to the canvas twice, and momentarily takes over the fight. As as his mother exults at ringside. #1 fan for Terence Crawford is his mom. You can't miss her.
He ain't got no legs no more, okay? You see, he don't got no bounce in the step after that knockdown, okay? So you can actually start creeping this motherfucker backward just a little bit. See, he don't want that interaction, okay?
Here you see at the start of the round, Terence Crawford comes out and a right hook right on the top of the head right away, knocks Postol down. An easy right hook, wasn't even a devastating punch.
Didn't even hit him that hard.
But it's where it landed at. Watch where it lands at, Jim. It lands right on the top part of his head. Bing, right there, kind of in the back of the head, high on the top of the back of the head, and down it went. And
then he knocked him down later with a harder punch.
With a real left hand. He countered the right hand. Postol steps in too far. Bing, gets caught with the counter left, and there he goes again on a delayed reaction.
Exactly right.
You asked earlier, Jim, about the American style. I think what typifies the American style at the top of the pound-for-pound ranks is the boxing brain. Think about Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, and Terence Crawford. His ability to outthink and think faster than his opponent, I think, is probably the hallmark of the American style.
And he's constantly moving lateral, which is not allowing Postol to throw no more than one punch at a time before he's getting countered.
I think it's the lateral movement that's really beginning to confuse Postol. Helped to set him up for the shots that he took in the last round. Postol wants to come straight forward, and there he gets in a pretty good right hand.
And European styles have been accused of being kind of color by numbers and technical, but not enough bend in them. Of course, all styles around the world are becoming more homogenous, but here you see Crawford bending and adjusting, and Postol has been unable to do it.
And you can't color by numbers if the target is not still right there in front of you. That's the biggest problem that Postol is having right now.
Styles becoming more homogenous around the world, Max. Wouldn't you say that both Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Kovalev tend to fight more in an American style?
In Golovkin's case, a Mexican style, as he'll tell you.
Of course.
But yes,
exactly right.
There's cultural exchange going on in boxing, absolutely, with trainers and fighters all over the world.
Good body shot by Crawford.
Including with Postol and Freddie Roach. Crawford is just such a magnificent fighter that he's taking control of the fight.
You heard Terence Crawford's trainers telling him between rounds, Postol's legs are going, he doesn't have the bounce anymore. Postol's still bouncing here in round 6, but certainly he had difficulty with his balance in the 5th.
What Terence wants to do is try to make it a situation to where Postol jumps in too big. Once he jumps in too big, he's too close to Crawford to evade the counter punches. And that's what has cost him the knockdowns so far in this fight.
Well, the 2 points that he lost on knockdowns in round 5, Postol now would appear to have an uphill fight on the scorecards.
Stop.
He's just not getting to throw as many punches as he's been accustomed to.
Yeah, because Terence is not sitting right there in front of him. He's moving laterally like that, and he doesn't allow him to throw but one punch before he has to change his positioning. And that does not allow him to punch again.
Round 6 comes to a close. Postol pauses, drops his hands, and just looks at Crawford for the last several seconds as if to say, I can't find you.
Victor, we're following him too much. We need to cut the ring off more. You have to set traps for him and catch him in the corner. When you have him in the corner, you can't get away. All right, go with the 1-2, right, 1-2-1, right down the middle. All right, but you can't follow him. You gotta cut the ring off. Stay with him. Stay with him.
In the first 6 rounds of this fight, Viktor Postol has thrown 120 punches and landed 42, meaning that he's averaging 7 out of 20 In the previous 5 fights, he was at 20 landed punches through 71 thrown in all of those fights as an aggregate. So he's been accustomed to throwing 70 punches per round. He's throwing about 20 per round here. That's a giant difference. That means no rhythm. That means he's not following up on anything. It means he hasn't found opportunities to counter. It means that Terence Crawford has thoroughly confused him with the movement style.
Completely confused him with the lateral movement because he's not a steal target, not sitting right there in front of him, not allowing him to throw more than 1 punch at a time.
Harold, how do you have it halfway through?
Okay, Jim, 4 rounds to 2, 58-54, Terence Crawford. I got to tell you, Jim, Freddie Roach is absolutely right in the corner. He told the guy, stop following him and cut the ring off. I mean, this guy don't have a clue how to cut the ring off. He follows him around all the time, and when Terence Crawford sees the opening, steps forward, and he whacks the guy. And that's how he knocked him down twice. He gets a 10-7 round in round 5. That gives him, this huge 4-point lead on the scorecards. But as long as Terence Crawford keeps moving, Postol is going to keep chasing him because he don't know how to cut the ring off. 4-2, Terence Crawford.
And when you see a guy who's 29 fights into his professional career and does not know how to effectively cut off the ring, it means he's not an attacking fighter.
Even most attacking fighters don't know how to effectively cut off the ring, slide to the side, and head the guy off at the pass. But part of that has to do with Crawford's quick feet, the fact that he can switch up orthodox southpaw, the fact that while you're trying to cut off the ring, he's getting the angle on you again to land his own punches. Not so easy to cut off the ring on Crawford.
And the fact that you won't throw body shots, which would allow you to keep him busy like he's doing you, while you're trying to set him up and get him to be still and throw a headshot. You're strictly head hunting. You're never going to slow him down.
And Postol landed a couple of shots there, glancing blows. Crawford with a hard body shot right on the belt.
And that's what Postol won't do, and that's what he does not like to feel coming at him.
The other thing is when a guy's been knocked down a couple times, fine, cut off the ring. Now you got him where you want him, or does he have you where he wants you?
Exactly.
Of course, if you cut off the ring properly, you should have the proper punching angle on your opponent, but hard to kind of make your body do that when all you know is when you come in, you get dropped.
Stop. Here we go.
Crawford has remained in the southpaw stance since the first 20 seconds of the fight. I wonder if there's a point at which we're going to stop calling him a conventional fighter and say, hey, Terence Crawford's a southpaw. This is how he stands in the ring.
I think he's whatever he wants to be. Look at that. He does both of them equally to me.
Straight left hand.
Beautiful feints.
Well, he does them equally well, but it's clear that he prefers to be in the southpaw stance.
Spends more time there.
Sorry.
Hey, when you throw that hit, it's there all day, right? Yeah. So you can throw that left hand, stay down the fight. Right? Nice movement. Just make sure you stay off the rope, okay? That's important. Hey, try to back him down a little bit. All right? Because hey, if that left hand is down, that straight right is going to be available.
He see Crawford moving around, confused him, making him get too close. Once he gets too close, he feints like he's going backwards, and bing, there's a straight left hand right down the pipe, followed by a right jab, and on out of the corner he goes. Beautiful lateral boxing by Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford was favored in the Las Vegas sports books by as much as 6-1. Some thought those odds were too long. Right now, he's making him look good as he's been dominant for the past few rounds in the fight. Knocked Viktor Postol down twice in the 5th round and now has a substantial lead, as you see on Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard.
Still a lot of time in the fight, but wonder if Manny Pacquiao is watching.
Almost knocked him down with that same right hook at the beginning of the round again.
Yes. Viktor Postol was the one who had a lot of rounds sparring against Manny Pacquiao. Another reason why Freddie Roach was saying, well, we don't care if Crawford turns southpaw. After all, Viktor sparred against the best southpaw in the world several times.
Early in fights, Crawford looks just vulnerable enough and gets hit enough that you'd think that real top-notch world-class fighters think, yeah, I could fight this guy. But you watch the whole fight, boy, it's a different story by the end.
Total different story by the end.
Postol hasn't faced a southpaw in the ring since 2013 in an official fight. But the sparring sessions with Pacquiao took up a lot of time. Crawford is landing his power shots more or less at will now. He has so discombobulated Postol with the foot movement and the herky-jerky timing and the southpaw stance and the whole thing that he's just basically doing whatever he wants to do now, such as that.
Good jab by Crawford.
And Crawford's able to get in and out so quickly that he'll land a shot or two and step away, and Postol hasn't even managed to gear up a possible counterpunch. Over and over.
Postol is waiting to see that steel target, Jim, and he's never going to get it from Terence Crawford. So it does him no good to keep looking for that one straight right hand knockout.
Stop, 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 stop.
See that one punch knockout is all he's looking for.
Yeah,
it's easy for Crawford to evade that.
He's got that right hand cocked.
That's
but
all
he doesn't want to set it up.
That's all he's looking for. And he doesn't have a left hook, so he's a one-handed fighter now, and you can see that coming.
Crawford's so much quicker. Able to get in and get out, get off, do what he wants, move away, and he's turning it into a rout.
All right, Victor, you landed that one right hand you have in the corner. It worked very well for you. We need to do that more. All right? Now, remember, don't throw that lazy jab. Quick jab. Let's be a little more aggressive with that quick jab, all right? Jab up. Come on. But it has to be big jab. Quick and hard. Quick and hard.
Quick and hard. That's what Terence Crawford's been able to do. Quick and hard is exactly what Viktor Postol has not been able to do. Go to round 9 of Schedule 12. It was very interesting early when there wasn't a lot of activity and they were sizing each other up, and it was something of a war of nerves, and Postol, at least on Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard, won 2 of the first 3 rounds. It got less interesting in round 5 when Crawford walked out of his corner and managed to land a right hook on the top of Postol's head and knocked him down. Then he knocked him down later on in the 5th round after a scintillating left hand. And since that time, Crawford has done what he wanted to do.
I think the magic number for Crawford is 3. He needs 3 rounds to figure you out. And then in the 4th round, boys, watch out.
All hell breaks loose.
Well, that was the case against Yuriorkis Gamboa. It was the case against Thomas Delorme. It was the case against Hank Lundy.
You get lulled into thinking you're actually watching a competitive fight, and then you realize, no, he was just
waiting,
programming, studying, and writing his program, and he was going to carry it out come round 4.
Good body shot by Crawford.
It's one of the reasons when you ask Crawford about how he's going to fight someone, he says, you'd never know. You have to wait until you get in there with him.
When first we saw him a few years ago against Bradis Prescott, he was a conventional fighter who would occasionally switch to the southpaw stance. Tonight, he switched southpaw 20 seconds into the fight and has stayed there ever since.
Good shot by Crawford.
Looking for another southpaw knockout.
And Postol is hurting.
Crawford is a finisher. Postol's hurt, and Crawford likes to hurt.
problem for Postol too, Max, is that Postol doesn't have a plan B. It's either knock him out with the right hand or else.
And your trainer can only do so much. Freddie Roach can devise a game plan, but invariably, when the other guy does something to interrupt it, to disrupt it, what else can you go to? And that's Crawford's forte. And you mentioned fishing earlier, Roy. It's like Crawford is luring him in little by little by little and setting him up for that big counter to finish the fight.
As soon as he gets close enough, Crawford bangs him.
By CompuBox count, Viktor Postol just landed a punch about 10 seconds ago, and that was the first punch he had landed in this round. By CompuBox count in that round, Viktor Postol was 1 of 10. You talk about being reduced to nothing within the fight. That's what's happening to Postol at the hands of Terence Crawford.
We way ahead. We way ahead. We way ahead. Hey, keep doing what you're doing. All right? Keep popping that jab in his face. All right? You see that motherfucker ain't got nothing but that right hand left. That's all he got. Hey.
Он бегает, но надо его срезать. Еще надо больше добавлять.
Victor, feint before you go.
Дергай перед тем, как заходить.
Feint once before you go. He'll draw his lead out, okay?
Когда ты увидишь его ответ.
Feint,
Here you see Crawford use his feints. Feint, jumps in with the jab, like Pacquiao does, and follows with the straight left hand behind it. Once you realize the jab lands and pushes Postol back, clean left hand right on the chin.
2 rounds to go. Viktor Postol hoping that he can suddenly solve a puzzle which has been absolutely impenetrable for him through the first 9 rounds. And I should say 3 rounds to go, excuse me, as we get to the 10th of a scheduled 12. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, so I got it 7-2, 88-81, Terence Crawford. You know, Jim, I'll tell you the truth. I think if Terence Crawford wanted to, he could step in and knock this guy out. I mean, I honestly believe that he could take him out anytime he wants to. The problem is he's getting complacent, you know? He sees he's winning every round by circling, by moving, by getting in a shot when he can get in a shot. You see, like this. I mean, if he wants to step forward, he could take this guy out. Anyway, Terence Crawford big, 7 rounds to 2, 88-81.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that Crawford is in a very good position to gauge how much his opponent has left. I think Postol is showing him enough that Crawford doesn't feel like he can just run him over. And I don't know if we're in a position to suggest that he's being complacent or that he's being smart. Yeah, I would guess that he's being smart.
Very smart.
I think there's a greater chance that the knockout would come if Postol decided to go forward and sell out and try to take risks to try to achieve the knockout himself.
Right.
If that were to happen, Crawford would get the chance to put him away.
Precisely.
But if Postol is going to continue to dance at range and throw 10 punches per round as he did in the last round, then we're probably going the distance, because why should Crawford take a risk?
No reason at all.
Well, I'd also trust the judgment of one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, who's already dropped the guy twice, hurt him another couple times, and has won every round since, what, the 4th?
And the 2 trainers in his corner, who, despite their obscurity and the fact that very few people know their names, haven't made a mistake yet with an unbeaten fighter en route to 29-0.
Good hook by Crawford.
Terence Crawford is trained by 2 guys from Omaha who both had losing records in obscure professional careers. We once asked him in a fighter meeting, how are you confident that you can learn from 2 guys who had losing records? He said, listen, you got to understand this sport. They didn't have managers. They didn't have a promoter. They didn't have anything to protect them. They were thrown to the wolves. They fought against better, more experienced guys. That's why they have those records, but they learned a lot, and that's why they can teach me.
And maybe they didn't have the athletic quality to succeed on the highest level, but Crawford certainly has that too.
And 2 heads are better than 1.
Interesting.
Hey, don't change nothing. Let's ride this motherfucker out. Get that belt. Deep breath. Deep breath. Give me a deep breath.
A little more aggressive, okay? Right, now, we have to knock him out to win, okay? You know that. Okay? But now here, get a little bit closer with the jab. Your jab can get you there, okay? Double the jab up. Straight right hand right down the middle, okay? Remember, keep going.
There's a brief scenic provided by our director, Jonathan Evans. An outside view of the MGM Grand Hotel. And now we're back to the ring. It was a great brief scenic. Round 11 begins. Total punches landed. Crawford 106. And he's not exactly selling out to try to land a lot of punches. Postol averaging 6 landed punches per round.
Now, after disagreeing with Harold's point about his complacency in the last round, I do think that if Crawford were to close the show with a knockout, it would create even more momentum for his career at the moment. He's becoming an attraction. He already is an attraction in Omaha, obviously, but even on the road, he's becoming an attraction and a ratings generator and a guy that fight fans really want to see.
And you saw right there how the knockout could take place as Postol decided to attack, went in, got close to Crawford, and Crawford nailed him with a couple of hard counter shots.
Postol finally threw a good body shot just now.
It's getting late. There are only 5 minutes to go in the fight. Postol might have wanted to try that body shot back in round 2.
Yes, 4 or 5 rounds or at least.
Quick right hands from Crawford.
Doing just as his corner suggested. Pop that straight jab. Keep him confused. Doing a terrific job out of southpaw stance against a tall southpaw.
Yeah, and against a guy who just made Lucas Matisse quit, you know, beat out his will to win, is undefeated, is in his prime, and looked to all the world like the second best fighter in the division, and probably is.
Until proven otherwise. Here we go again. Postol gets close, tries to attack. You saw Crawford landing the hard counter shots.
And Postol sails out to one big bomb, and then he's done. He's off balance, not ready to punch back, not ready to really defend, and Terence Crawford makes him pay for that.
Go. Third round. I got you. Third round. So this makes you think that at the moment last year when Matisse had beaten Provodnikov and was preparing for Postol, and a lot of people thought, okay, this is going to be the moment at which Matisse stamps himself as the number 140-pound fighter in the world. At that moment, Crawford had 140-pound fight against Tomas Delorme. He was probably already the best 140-pounder in the world.
I'll take it a step further, and we discussed it during the broadcast. When Crawford beat Greatest Prescott in his coming out party, it seemed like he was probably the best 135 and maybe 140-pounder in the world at that point.
And now a penalty for Postol for hitting behind the head.
Time is, go.
But suspecting a guy is the best and him going out and proving it are two different things. And Crawford has done nothing but prove it since then.
That's another point for the landslide deficit now that Postol takes into the final round.
You see, he's trying to press you with his legs. Trying to press you with his legs so you can make a mistake. You ain't gonna make no mistake. Just stay focused, keep your hands up and shit. When he coming to you, sometimes throw a feint at him to freeze him. And you can catch him, okay?
It's all you, okay? All right? All right, pressure, okay? Keep your chin down, okay? Hands up.
Final round of a fight in which now the competitive outcome would appear to be a foregone conclusion unless Viktor Postol can pull the most unexpected comeback knockout in quite some time.
Oh, landed a couple good shots just then.
Postol seems willing to try.
He's always willing to try, Jim. He has a big heart. He just hasn't done enough tonight. I mean, he followed the guy around trying to land one punch. Didn't develop a left hook in training. Only came to land the right hand. You're not going to land one punch on Crawford too often. He's far too brilliant for that.
Postol landing some good shots here, and Crawford not fighting like a guy who's trying to milk a lead or sit on a lead. He's fighting like a guy who wants to mix it up.
Give Postol credit. He suddenly decided that he doesn't want to go quietly.
Crawford should sit on that lead, though, and be smart about the way he exchanges, because Postol still can punch with that right hand.
Just not Crawford's nature.
But if Crawford chooses to stand his ground and look for the big counter shot, he might get that knockout after all.
Yep.
2 minutes to go.
Or, Jim, as you said, now that Postol is getting a little more reckless, Crawford can walk him into something big.
Postol needed Dundee last round. You're blowing it, champ. You're blowing it.
The words of Angelo Dundee after round 12 in Las Vegas, September 14, 1981. First fight between Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns.
Ain't no 13th round anymore. Postol flashing a little left hook upstairs this round, Roy.
Yeah, but it's too late. It should have been flashing that a long time ago.
And when Postol lands something hard, boy, Crawford comes right back.
Now he's turned right-handed.
This round is going to redeem the fight's entertainment value. 1 minute to go.
And now Crawford chasing him.
I got to tell you, it was far from an action fight, but I was entertained. We watched a brilliant performance.
Crawford smiling, laughing, sticking his tongue out at Postol, holding the glove high.
And also maybe conceding, I can't knock you out.
He's a showman, Terence Crawford.
Might as well stick my tongue out at you. I can't knock you out, but I whipped you pretty good.
Very good.
And even now, with 12 seconds to go, Postol reticent to step in and try to fire away. As Crawford moves and moves, dancing from side to side, ultimately humiliating Viktor Postol.
A brilliant performance from a brilliant fighter.
And Postol kind of pats him on the back as he walks by, as Mom celebrates at ringside. Harold, what's your final scorecard in the fight?
Okay, Jim, I got it 10 rounds to 2, Bobby. 118-107, Terence Crawford. I mean, Jim, the guy dominated the fight with the movement. Yeah, there were rounds where I felt that he could have given us a little bit more entertainment, stepped in to try to get the guy out. But be as it may, the 12th round was a great round where Postol went after Crawford and they really mixed it up, you know? Terence Crawford is a tremendous fighter. Good puncher, good mover, good boxer, got all the skills, all the tools. He does it all. And I'll tell you the truth, if he fights Manny Pacquiao, it's going to be sensational.
And that may well be a future date for Terence Crawford. A pay-per-view outing against Manny Pacquiao. That will depend on what that man in the middle of the screen, Bob Arum, head of Top Rank Promotions, wants to do. Let's take a look at what happened here in the prize fight, most particularly in round 5.
Yeah, in round 5, he came out with a quick left hook to send Postol down for the first time. That was really a momentum changer. Kind of discouraged Postol. Then he countered with another left hand, overhand left, that took his legs away from him. And his gloves ended up touching the canvas right here. That's considered a knockdown. And from that point forward, Terence Crawford seems to just take control.
So now Crawford adds the belt he has just won from Postol to the belt he had before. He's got the WBC and the WBO. Let's go to Mike the Buffer for the official particulars on the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Guido Cavallari and Don Trolla both scored at 118-107. Dave Moretti 117-108. All to the winner by unanimous decision. And now both WBC, WBO, light welterweight, champion of the world, the fighting pride of Omaha, Nebraska, Terence Crawford.